Women and leadership. The theme of today's symposium is germane to both organizations that are collaborating for this program. The WSRC as a leading university-based center in Gujarat, striving towards instilling gender perspective in higher education, and FGI that has taken a lead in promoting and projecting the interest of industries as well as the needs of community at large. Leadership is a social phenomenon reflecting the underlying beliefs, assumptions, and values that are prevalent in a given cultural milieu. Traditionally, leadership contexts across the world, and we heard a little bit of a leadership context and the struggles from Geeta just a while ago. But traditionally, a leadership context, at least in the public domain, have been masculinized contexts, with the playing field tilted against women. As we already heard, the leadership role is not new for women. Women have been leaders in families and communities. Unfortunately, for many, many years, these roles did not receive adequate visibility. Leadership by all means is a challenging venture, and women leaders tend to be on the radar more frequently, even today, I think. They're often confronted by a catch-22 kind of a phenomenon stemming from stereotypic gender roles. So for instance, despite all of the progress and changes, I'd like to give an example of one dilemma that maybe some women leaders may face. So should a woman follow the dictum, look like a lady, act like a man? Women are expected to behave in ways that are consistent with feminine roles, yet diminished when they demonstrate feminine traits in their leadership style. So for example, if a woman adopts a style that is direct and aggressive, she may be viewed as being overbearing and angry. On the other hand, if she tends to adopt a nurturing style that is more consistent with her stereotypic role, she may be viewed as lacking in substance. So you have catch-22. It is heartening to note, however, that the scenario is changing slowly but surely, with older patterns, stereotypes, and definitions giving way to new ones. We are witnessing a shift, as we already heard, in the demand for profiles which combine technical competence with the so-called soft skills. So for example, flexibility, adaptability, social skills, communication skills, language, teamwork, team building skills, ability to address and solve unforeseen problems, all of these are coming to the fore more strongly now. And being an academician, I must quote a research. So research has shown that women have an edge over men as far as these meta competencies are concerned. To quote Mahatma Gandhi, in a gentle way, you can shake the world. And I think many, many women today are shaking the world. More and more women, as we heard, are coming forward to occupy positions of leadership across different sectors of development. And the women who are here with us today, on the dais as well as off the dais, are testimony to this change. We have author, entrepreneur, educationist, business unit head, and vice president. A luminous melange indeed of women who have persevered in the face of multiple trials that are inevitably strewn along the path of leadership. What is it that motivated these women to opt for professions that they did? How has the process unfolded for them? What have been the highs and lows, the satisfactions and the challenges? To what extent does gender play out in settings that have traditionally been male bastions? Importantly, what advice or guidelines do they have to offer to women who are aspiring to become leaders and entrepreneurs? The symposium seeks to explore some of these questions from an insider's perspective. Listening to the four distinguished speakers will surely stimulate participants to explore the entrepreneur within each one of us. Let me now take this opportunity to introduce and share with you a little bit about the Women's Studies Research Center at the MS University. The UGC initiated Women's Studies Centers in universities with the primary goal of interweaving and including women's concerns and gender concerns in higher education. The Women's Studies Research Center, or WSRC, as is known, in our university was initiated in 1990 under the leadership of a remarkable woman, Professor Amita Verma. Our center has completed 21 years, and through these years, it has survived and grown under the leadership of strong women, one of whom I know is present in the audience, Professor Parul Dave, who have persevered against many odds, such as erratic funding, inadequate staff for long periods of time, and amidst all this, a constant, tacit, as well as forward pressure to prove its merit and its existence. The evolution of WSRC over the years has been much like the ebb and flow of waves in an ocean. During high tide, that is when the funding and staff situation is consistent, which is rather context dependent, one is able to conduct a spate of activities. However, during low tide, activities may tend to wane a little. For a leader, these are testing times when patience and perseverance are key, along, of course, with desperate follow-ups at all levels. I also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the very prompt and timely support that our Vice Chancellor has always offered to our center during such times. The mark of a responsive and sensitive leader, I must say. Notwithstanding the odds, over the last 21 years, the center has tenaciously sustained as a site of active engagement, academic debate, and informed scholarship on women and gender studies. Gender issues, as we are all aware, are inherently multifaceted and multidisciplinary in nature. If we are to strive towards a gender-just world, we need to work together. Therefore, the center likes to conduct most of its activities in collaboration with other disciplines and departments in the university, as well as non-government organizations and other organizations outside the university. Today's program is one such example. And I'm very, very pleased to see the representation of several departments from our own university today. I urge each one of you to come forward to work with the center for different programs and activities. And I also invite organizations that are outside of the university to come forward and link with the center so that together we can work towards making the world a more gender-sensitive place to be. Just a few points that I would like to share about what we do in the center. So our center has a library which houses a rich collection of books and materials, and it's open to all. Membership is free of charge. We bring out a biannual newsletter which is called WSRC Communique. It's on different themes every year. And the main domains of our activities are teaching, research, advocacy, and documentation. So what we do is we conduct courses, workshops, and discussion forums, as well as research on different themes. For example, HIV/AIDS and gender sensitization, violence against women, conditions of widows in Gujarat, conditions of older women, mental health of women. These are just some examples. We also join with other organizations in doing advocacy. So for example, having film festivals, media campaigns, and we also give inputs in policy formulation at the state and national level. So for example, the Gujarat state policy on gender is where our center was represented and gave inputs. In the wake of the Delhi incident of violence in December and the formulation of a task force in the university, our center plans to conduct gender sensitization programs for all universities across all departments and faculties beginning the next academic year. I'm also happy to share that our center received from the FGI an award for excellence in the category of outstanding achievement in the field of women, girl, child welfare and empowerment. This was in 2009, so I'm very happy to be here even for that other reason. I extend my welcome to interested individuals to please, men as well as women, to please come and join the center, get in touch with us and become WSRC associates so that together we move forward to accomplish our agenda. And in ending, I turn back to the theme of the symposium and would like to share 7 dictums or maxims, if you will, that I think every leader, and in fact every one of us, may try and follow. The 6 most important words: I admit I made a mistake. The 5 most important words: you did a great job. The 4 most important words: what is your opinion? The 3 most important words: if you please. The 2 most important words: thank you. The most important word: we. The least important word: I. Thank you very much.